So how do you know you are who you think you are? How do you know you are who you say you are? And the only way to know that is to be put in a position to prove that you are who you say you are. My spiritual mother used to tell me, when you claim one thing, everything unlike it shows up. And the unlikeness, this is what I received, this is what I interpreted from what she was telling me. The unlikeness, what's unlike you, what you say you are, is your opportunity to prove that. And oftentimes, women, it's easy to say a thing, right? What you are going to do, what you're not going to do, until you are put in a position to prove you are going to do what you say you do, what you're going to do. Right? And oftentimes women are put in certain positions and they end up feeling like failures or frauds because they have not developed the skills and tools to actually be that. And so when you listen to my messages, when you listen to my teachings, right? When you absorb them, it's not for you to just listen. Women are notorious information gatherers. It's about gathering the information and then putting it to use. I've read I have books upon books. I've done challenges where I've read 60, 70, 80, 90 books a year, right? But it's not enough to just retain information. What are you doing with the information that you already have? How are you using that information to enhance your life? You don't need a man to make your life soft. You don't need a man to enhance your life. You need to apply what you say you know. What I want to talk about specifically is women creating a desirable life, women creating a soft life, women creating the life that they think men are going to provide to them. Let me tell you something, as someone who's in proximity to men a lot. Men do not have life figured out. They're not born with special gifts, with the special gift of survival. What men are born with is a violent trait, animalistic nature, as women are. They're not born knowing how to survive. They have to figure that out. And so to believe, like many women were conditioned to believe, that your way out of actively participating in life is by way of a man, that is not true. And that is probably the most dangerous thing you're going to do to yourself. By opting out of life, you are not developing skills and tools as an adult to survive and thrive. One of the worst things a woman could be is a stay-at-home anything, because you are not actively participating in the world. This is why I say wives can't say anything to me. We're not in the same reality. Because no matter what, you're still a woman, but you are covered under the label wife. I'm not. So the world is going to respond to me differently. The men are going to respond to me differently. Men respect other men. That's why you may get the respect because you're a wife, not because they respect women. Men don't respect women. Men are chivalrous to women, right? But because you have that covering, you're not having the same experience as I am. And I know this to be a fact because I was once a wife. It's a totally different reality. And when you are your own coverer, your own protector, your own provider, you have to operate in the world differently. That's the only way you're going to get skills and tools, is by actively participating in life. You don't get the skills and tools by waiting for someone at home. What if he dies? What if he leaves? And many of you are not marrying well enough to give up on life. Many of you, if your husband dies, when he dies, you're going to have to go to work or find someone else to step in to pick up the slack. Right? You must actively participate in a thing to understand how to operate within it. We understand this on many levels. In order to know how to cook, you have to cook. In order to know how to, make something, you have to make it. You can't just read a thing. You can't just read about cooking. You have to know how to add the seasoning, how, what temperature the oven is. You have to know what pots to use, what kind of knives to use. Things get really intricate, right? So you have to actively participate in life in order to know what works for you, in order to understand people, in order to make things work for you specifically. Everyone's journey, everyone's life is different. Everyone's results are different. So you got to actively participate in life. And women don't want to do that because life doesn't give guarantees. Women need guarantees. This is why many of you thrive in controlled environments like school and work, because there's a guarantee of promotion, paycheck, and degree. Life doesn't give you that, right? And it's scary for a woman, right? So it's snowing now, right? Not in this moment, but this is the weather. It's winter for snow. And, I would hear men say things like, well, we're the strong, independent women who need someone to shovel snow and these things, or take snow off their car and all these things, right? A lot of men really think women are dumb and handicapped. They believe that they are the answer to our prayers, right? I made a joke, like, when women are praying for men, what are you actually praying for? Right? In order to survive and thrive in the world, you have to actively participate in it. You can't just read about it. You can't just watch YouTube. You cannot just gather information. You have to take that stuff, go out in the world, deal with people, develop social skills, right? All of the things that I teach so that you can create the best quality of life possible. Before y'all ask. Most of life is just really preparing. It's really getting your ducks in a row. It's living proactively, right? So let's go back to the snow conversation. I know it's going to snow in New York, right? I grew up in New York. Every fucking winter it snows. So you're supposed to get better, right, with your preparations. You shouldn't get to a point where you don't know what the fuck to do, right? New Yorkers should never get to the point where they don't know what to do in the snow. Complaining about the snow is asinine. It's been snowing in New York forever, right? You're going to need gas. You're going to need food, right? You may have to shovel, right? It's certain things that certain positions I'm not going to put myself into because I'm not married to a man, right? So I'm not going to live in a house by myself. I always lived in a house. When my father came to this country, he bought a house with cash. That's where I grew up in, right? I know that the front of the house must be shoveled. The gutters have to be cleaned. The boiler may break. The basement may leak, right? There's a lot of things that I just know from living in a house that I'm not going to put myself in because it may cost me more. It may stress me more because there's not a man living in the home with me. I'm not going to buy into what other people may do because other people have spouses. I don't have that, right? So I'm in proximity to people who, they buy houses out of the 5 boroughs and, That's their American dream, marriage, a house, and these. I don't live like that, right? Because I don't have the spouse to pick up the slack that a man would usually pick up. Now, I may have a man help me with things, right? Plumbing and what have you, that usually requires male expertise, but I don't have that on call. So I have to move differently. Women have to use their brains. This is what we have this for. You don't always need brawn. Are men needed and necessary? Sure, right? I mean, they're needed for things. But a lot of times they're not needed for the things women want. The goal is to get out of survival mode, right? And not just financial survival mode, emotional survival mode, spiritual survival mode, right? All things start with a good foundation. Now, my father used to tell me I didn't need a man. That stained my brain. Sheba, you don't need no man. This is what he used to tell me all the time. Sheba, as in the Queen of Sheba. I didn't name myself Sheba. Lilith and Babylon came later on in life, but Sheba's always been with me. Someone gave me that name at birth. Right? So I've always had a goddess complex. This is not a social media thing for me. A lot of things that I know and have learned was off of social media. I didn't go through my journey watching YouTube and learning from people on Facebook and the internet. That's not my story. Not that anything is wrong with it, because many of you are learning from me that way. But my pedigree is different, right? So building a foundation, right? Knowing what you are capable of and not putting yourself in situations that you can't get yourself out of, or that you may need assistance from other people. Do we need assistance? Yes. But there are certain things that women put themselves in positions to need people when you shouldn't even have been in that position, right? But when you know better, you do better. Sometimes you just don't know any better, right? So I knew the kind of lifestyle I wanted to live. So I knew that more kids were never going to be born from my womb. I knew what I poured into my daughter, and I knew that I wasn't going to do that again with another child, because I wanted to live a certain lifestyle. I didn't care what a man wanted. I was not going to birth a child that was going to be in tow with me while I created my life. Now, some of you are in that position multiple times over. There's nothing you can do about that. You only can evolve from that point. You have to start making other decisions now. It's not about men anymore being rescued, because for the most part, I think women are coming to terms with men don't rescue us. Right? What many women want is to be rescued from the realities of life. Women want to be rescued from adult responsibility, right? Again, men are not born with survival skills. They have to learn it. They're not born with the capabilities that women think they are. This is why most men are being dominated by very few. Most men are being dominated, controlled by other men. We live in a patriarchal society, and most men are not rich. Things were created for them to thrive, and it's still not. Many still are not doing it. There are a lot of men living paycheck to paycheck, or barely living. Right? A lot of wives are not. They're married to average men and below. Like, men are not what y'all think they are. And I know this because I'm in proximity to them. They don't have it like that. A lot of men are just not even smart. And this is the reality of things, right? Men don't have it figured out, life, simply because they're men. So I'm saying that to say, like, you can't look to them to save you from adult responsibilities, right? Living proactively. I remember I started a thread. I wish I could find that post on Facebook where I listed things on how women could make their lives easier, right? When you have children, enroll them in getting ready for school the next day, right? Make sure your keys is in the same spot every day. Make sure you have money in your cell phone case. Always have cash. Women should always have some amount of cash on them, right? Never let your tank go below half. Keep your car maintenance. If the engine light comes on, go take care of that. Do not buy a car that's out of your means that you cannot maintain. If you cannot maintain the car, don't buy the car. I told this story before. So there were two men looking in my car, and someone told me that a man said, "Oh, look, it's the repo man." Now, I'm not in the presence of this person. And I said, "Oh, I don't know what that's like." I said it to the person, like, I don't know what it's like to invest in something, to buy something, and someone come take it from me. See, I don't put myself into positions that I can't uphold myself, right? In order to have a certain kind of car, you have to be able to maintain it. My tires alone, my oil change. And as a woman, a car is a form of protection. It has to be well maintained. I'm not looking for discounts for my oil change and maintenance. Right? I'm going to the Porsche dealer because I'm a woman, and sometimes that may cost a little more. I'm not going to be stuck on the side of the road, right? And if God forbid, I have AAA, right? I can go through my insurance company. These are things that women have to think of. Do you have an emergency credit card that you don't use? The money in your cell phone case is not for Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts. It's for you to keep. God forbid you may need some cash. Somebody can help you if you have cash. People are not going to say no to cash. Right? So there are things that you need to be proactive in to make your life softer. I don't put myself in positions that's going to deteriorate the quality of life that I created for myself. I was just talking to my mentee and I said, can you imagine stressing over a man that you're not even married to? Stressing over a man that you don't live with? Walking on eggshells because a man that you don't even share finances with is mad or whatever the fuck. It's certain things that I'm just not going to engage in because it takes away from my quality of life. I look youthful and rested and all of the things because I don't have stress. I have responsibilities, but because I live proactively, I don't allow them. They don't stress me out. But women are living by the seat of their pants. Like, you should have a job. Yes, we all have dreams and we all have businesses, but if you cannot live off of the business, you need to get a job. You need to go clock in somewhere. Hoping a man gives you money is not a way to live. Many of you, your nervous systems are shot because you don't have any stability and you think only men can provide that for you. No, you need to provide your own stability. And you create that stability by building a solid foundation. And you build that solid foundation by being proactive in life, right? Getting ahead of things. Many women are reactive, meaning things happen to you and then you react to it. This is why your nervous systems are shot. No, there are things you know you're going to have to pay your rent every month. Why do you not have the money? You know that's a must. You got to pay your bills. You got to eat. The kids got to eat. Right? There's not going to come a day where the kids say, nah, I'm not going to eat today. Nah, they got to eat. Even if it's snacks, they got to eat something. Right? There are things that you must have. Your fundamentals. And then you got to have your pleasures. You can't just live to pay bills and live to take care of kids and live to take care of everyone. Nah, you need your hair done. You need your hair washed by a fucking professional. Everything can't be fucking DIY, bitch. Go get your hair done. Even if it's once a month. Get your nails done. Get your feet done. We need all of these things. You need to be well-rounded. Get yourself out of survival mode. Go out in the world and actively participate in it. That's the only way you're going to know if you are who you say you are. That's the only way you're going to know if you're built for this. You can't do that by sitting in the house and watching me on YouTube. That's not how I live. I'm in the world. I don't just sit in the house all day. One of the worst things a woman can do is sit in the house all day, because all you're doing is hiding from life and from yourself. This is why a lot of times divorced women have such a hard time, because they've lived under a man for so long. Even if they worked, it's not the same as being a single woman, because you know that safety net is there of a man. Even if he ain't shit, it's still a man there. Right? Life requires active participation. Life requires you to be proactive. Being reactive is being in survival mode. That doesn't feel good. Women are not supposed to be living like that. We need security. We need stability. And if a man can't provide it for you, then you need to be providing it for yourself. And you need to be providing it for yourself anyway, because nothing is guaranteed. Men change their minds all the time. Right? No human should have your life in their hands. Ain't that much love in the fucking world. Nobody should have your life in their hands. I don't even understand how y'all trust men like that. So take what I'm teaching and you go out in the world and you make it your own. Right?